Well, welcome, Carmen. It's so wonderful to have you back, the SDI community, and to have you as a keynote speaker for our forthcoming conference next May 7th, 9th, so next month. And we're really looking forward to what you have to share and looking to see if you might want to tell us a little bit about what you're going to address at the conference.
Thank you, SeiFu. I'm so looking forward to being with you, with the SDI community again. I always enjoy being with you all. It's such richness. So for me, the theme of spiritual companionship as a light, I've been reading lately the First Nations version of the New Testament of the Christian scriptures, and they translate Son of Man as true human being. And I've also been sitting with your translation of Linji Yishun, where you say there is a true person of no rank constantly flowing in and out of each of our faces. And some of my spiritual companions have been the people I've been able to commune with in translation, like the Gospel of Thomas. And in the Gospel of Thomas, Jesus says, you want to get in touch with the person you were before you were born, as the person you are now. And so for me, spiritual companionship is not a linear definition. It's a way of life, really. It's a way of being. And it's a way to capture that light of the true self, that true face. And what is that but love? And we cannot do it alone. We can think, with the empire consciousness that we're all living in, it's very easy sometimes to default to, I have my list, I need to get my list done, and then everything will be okay, just me and my list and being productive. And what I love about spiritual companionship, too, is that while we do have the wonderful SDI and we have places where people can become accredited and such, for me, spiritual companionship includes all of the ancestors, my friends who were in, like the spiritual wise people that we all know of, Teresa of Avila, Juan de la Cruz, but also people like Mother Bushbeck, who listened to me when I was 22 and gave me companionship. She wasn't giving me advice. She was helping me to see my true self, and she loved me. She fed me roasted chicken when she didn't even like it. She was German, and that wasn't her favorite. But, and so for me, what I love about this topic is that it makes visible how by deep listening, we can see better. So that for me is kind of like this synesthesia of spiritual companionship gives us this wonderful, holy, dedicated space where we can practice this communal practice of spiritual companionship and really sit with our true self apart from empire consciousness and really lean into the fact that, as Jim Finley says, our good friend, that only love has the authority to name who we are, not our trauma, not our limitations of any sort that we all are dealing with, not somebody else's opinion, not even sometimes our own opinions where we haven't quite yet seen where we really are love. Only love has the authority to name who we are. And what I love about spiritual companionship is it reminds us that none of us gets free alone, that we're all in it together and we need each other. So I absolutely find spiritual companionship is a way of life. And I love how SDI does this. Y'all are amazing at bringing people together to really cultivate this mindset and this embodied way of life. That's what I want to talk about, a lot of that. I also want to look at sort of the difference between what is spiritual companionship, what is spiritual direction, and how we might sort of compare those two, because spiritual companionship is a word I absolutely love because that little pan in the middle means bread. And so spiritual companion is somebody we eat bread with. And one of the things I love about Jesus's ministry is how often, like a mother or a grandmother, he emphasizes bread and feeding people. And even if he's not doing the feeding, he's making sure the disciples did y'all get some food in for the crowds that are coming to see me? Did we get some bags of groceries? And then also he says, come and have breakfast. And so for me, Jesus's ministry is not from on high talking down to people. In the Gospel of Thomas, Jesus is so excited with Thomas because Thomas sees Jesus as his friend. And Jesus says, I'm not your teacher, I'm your friend. And so for me, a spiritual companion really captures the essence of it because they're two people side by side, both of them seeing the divine in each other and helping to quicken that by seeing it in each other. Whereas it's fine if people want to use spiritual direction, obviously. But for me, direct has as its core the same root as rex for king and even arrogant. And it is telling someone what to do, which for me, spiritual companionship is about guiding, even over counseling and teaching. And guide has as its root to see, same root as wisdom. And so I love the fact of spiritual companionship being two humans sitting with each other and listening. For me, the other thing about spiritual companionship, as someone who has, been a spiritual companion on, if we're going to make it linear, on the one side of listening and someone comes to me, and also being spiritually companioned, the really wonderful thing is how you get to step out of the current of the world's productivity. And it's surprising how being a human is one of the most mysterious, amazing things. It reminds me, because one of the ways I'm spiritually companioned, SeiFu, and wonderful SDI community is by ducks in the marsh. So literally, when I go for a walk out in the marsh and I may be worried about students, how can I reach them? They're stressed. And there'll be a duck on this curved bridge that we have there. And I just stop. And this duck sits with me and we companion each other in a way that reminds me of that mysterious space that opens up when two people sit together in spiritual companioning. You don't know what's going to happen next. And one of the things about empire consciousness and having to make a resume and make a living is that we have to plan things out and mark them off and get them done and be productive. I mean, it really is a part of our lives. And this is very revolutionary to stop all that for a moment and say, we're just going to be together and look for the love in each other and ask the Spirit to be with us. So I'm kind of letting go of holding on to trying to control things. I love it. It's really what contemplation's about, finding that rest and finding our real voices. Because really, isn't that why most of us get into contemplation? We've recognized the faker inside. And my students will often say, you do you. And I'm 65. I'm still every day waking up and trying to do me and also be a part of community. And spiritual companionship for me is that light, that ability to, in the darkness of empire consciousness, to have the light of companionship. Nothing better.